if you had to choose one meal to eat, breakfast, lunch, or dinner, like for the rest of your life, like that's all you got, what would you choose?
Pizza.
Not even,
hands down.
Well, we could have pizza for breakfast. We could have pizza for...
I mean, I don't like it cold, but I would heat it up. I'd have pizza, and then you get some spicy ranch going with it. It's the top. I could have it for every meal, change up toppings. It would be
for
my
breakfast,
favorite.
you could put some syrup on it if you needed to. And you could...
Sure.
Yeah, sure.
No.
Maybe on the crust. Let's go the honey on the crust route for breakfast. Let's go that way.
Okay, so what is your pizza topping of choice?
Probably pepperoni and green peppers would be my go-to, but
Sounds delicious.
not overly picky.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the VIP podcast. So excited you're here hanging out with us. We have a live guest in studio, Sid. What do you think about that?
I love it when people come in.
Oh my gosh.
It's awesome.
It's the best. We have one of our very own, Liz, I'm going to pronounce this wrong, Steenhoek? No.
Steenhoek.
I got it?
Think of a stain on your shirt and a hook where you hang your coat.
Oh, that's perfect.
Okay, Steenhoek.
And she is in our events department, and we're excited to have you in here.
I'm excited to be here. Thanks.
And we hear people, or I do anyway, talk about event season. But here at Vertafore, it's always event season. Am I right?
It does feel, yes, it's pretty. We kick off January with some internal events, and then head into events. I'd say a little bit in the summer, maybe we get a few weeks of some lull, but fall is just right at it. So
how many events a year on average do we attend at Vertafore between all your teams?
On average, I could talk to the event team, which here at Vertafore, there's 3 of us, so we are a small but very mighty team. Yeah. And between 3 of us, we manage about 99 events.
Holy
my gosh.
For the year.
That's
just round up to 100.
It's just round up to 100. And we do work with some of our sales partners on enabling them to attend other events and offering a little support, but not driven purely from the event team.
But then there's also events that we sponsor that we do not go to.
Correct.
So we probably haven't attended.
Those are some of those I'm talking about with our
crazy.
Yes. So
I mean that's a lot. Okay, so as people listening right now, talking about events and getting into events, and people even ask me and Sid sometimes, which event should I go to? What's going on? I got three events at one time. We talked about that earlier with 3 events going on at once. What would you think, just starting off this conversation, what do you think is like the best way or best practice on how people might be able to choose when there's so many different events? How do I even, what do I look for?
Yeah,
right.
What's a good conference?
Yeah.
Right? I mean,
not sometimes, by name, but yeah.
No. don't name any names.
We don't want to get in trouble, but what's the makeup of a good conference?
Because I think we've all been to conferences and spent, thousands of dollars with airfare, hotel, taken time off work, and gotten to the end of the 3-day period and thought, I don't know if I'm going to come back to that.
Right.
It felt like it was not worth it at the end of the day for how much I invested. So how do you know before you go into it? What do you look? Are there signs?
I think there's
red
a couple
flags?
things a lot of people look at or should be looking at. Really identifying what is it that is important to you for that year, your business, or even you personally from a growth perspective. What is it that you're trying to get out of to add to your business for the year? And so depending upon what your strategic priorities are, I think that's going to help shape what event you go to. And we're seeing for this next year really a split, not a split, but where a lot of events are going to shine. And it's going to be your real big conferences, so people can go and get a lot out of it. Networking, education, keynote speakers, so much available at a big conference, trade shows, things like that. And then also there's those real small niche conferences that, seminars even, webinars, if you will, that are starting to gain traction and becoming really popular because they allow people to hone in on one thing particularly that they're looking for and can get that out of either attending or joining online, which is, especially once COVID hit, became a very popular way of being able to attend conferences and getting what you need out of them. So I think for everybody who's out there and looking year to year, I mean, there's obviously the calendar involved. What time of year is it? What do you have going on? Can you attend? But what is it you're trying to get out and that you need to enhance either personally or your business? And does that event hit that and accomplish that for you?
Yeah, I go ahead.
I was going to say, how would you find that out? How would you find out, let's break it down real world here. So you know what your strategic priorities are. Maybe it's, okay, I want to figure out how artificial intelligence is just going to evolve the insurance
You had
industry.
to bring in AI already.
Hey,
We're like 5 minutes
yeah,
in, we
yeah.
bring in AI.
She's hitting strong.
Listen, and we're going to talk about AI in the events industry too, but I'm talking, this is just an
Here we go.
example
Chad,
of,
here we go.
you know, so how would you, okay, so now I know that's my objective, right, for technology in 2025. What do I do next?
Well, I'd really start looking at, conferences. A lot of conferences are putting out months, even a year in advance, what it is that they're going to be talking about at the conference and specializing in it, and perhaps education tracks. And so looking at what they're putting out that they say they're going to be covering, I don't think there's anything wrong in even calling up the conference organizers and asking, hey, this is
Pro
something I'm
tips.
interested in.
Yep.
Are you offering it? Because don't
So
spend your
smart.
money on something that
Sure.
isn't going to really deliver what you need.
Yep.
Right on.
Yeah.
And then also, are there networking activities or people going that have the same interest? So even if you're not getting a thought leader on the topic, you're going to be connecting with like-minded individuals who will spur those spontaneous conversations, whether or not you're at the bar with drinks or lunch or on a walk, whatever it may be.
Yep. Very
Yeah,
smart. I love it.
you brought up a good point with the different size of events, and you see this surgence of the boutique events, those little small events. So you went to one in, I think, Key West or whatever. I've been to a couple.
I know
different-
both of you guys have been to
Yes.
a few.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so, again, some of those are really great for certain intentionality there, and some of them are not. And like the old school events that we used to go to would be your golf tournament, a couple speakers, and a vendor fair. And so, do you think events are more targeting audiences who want to go for networking, or are you seeing more trends of like more education focused or more learning focused, or are you seeing a mix across the board with 99 events?
I think it is a mix. I think networking, especially in the insurance industry, is very important. It may not be as important in different industries, but within this industry, it is a lot about making those connections and building that in order to build your business. But I think the immersive activities and things that are going on within the events that stem from the networking and that you get out on a personal level are really starting to rise to the forefront. Education is important. You do see certain events that tailor to additional education credits that some people may need. So those are always going to be important and always a big driver, especially for people who need those credits to stay up to date. And those will never go away, but I think it's incorporating those. A successful event would incorporate those and have other things that just really enhance their attendees' experience to make it overall very valuable.
Awesome. And I know that, here, being a big company and having a lot of users and whatnot, we have our own big event that we do every
We
year.
do.
I think it's called Accelerate. Am I right?
Oh, I'm glad you know that name.
Powered by NetVu.
Yes,
But,
yes.
Could you, I know you're not necessarily involved deep in the woods in that, but could you talk to me a little bit at a high level of that, what that event, is, maybe what can agents have never been to that, what could they expect when they come to that event?
Sure. That event does sit on that spectrum of what I was saying are the larger trade shows where you're going to be able to get a much more tailored experience because there's a lot more going on. So things that Accelerate really offer to our customers is we have great thought leadership. We have a tech hub in which you can meet personally with a Vertafore rep to go through your products, go through problems you're having, learn more products. We have a huge hall of exhibitors, including Vertafore exhibiting there, where we do demos. You can come and learn about things. We also have theater sessions that are in addition to the wonderful education sessions that are offered throughout the full 2 or 3 days. And then we have a lot of fun with great giving back opportunities, fun networking, dinners out, parties, stuff like that on top of it. So
There's a little bit of everything.
There's a little bit of everything, and it can be easy when you go to those big conferences to get lost, but that again goes back to what we were talking about earlier. Identify what it is you're trying to get out of it, and you need to be proactive when you get to those to get that for yourself. So if you want help, if you want to learn about products, if you want to learn education sessions, get in there, ask. Don't be afraid to stand out and ask for what you need and find it, because somebody at those big conferences will be able to deliver and help you with that.
Yeah, I was going to say, Accelerate is one of the bigger conferences that I've been to. Thousands of people are there. And even internally at Vertafore, our team spends time going through the agenda and figuring out exactly what sessions we want to be at. Because
Absolutely.
At every hour, there could be 4 to 5 sessions going on. And I know, again, this sounds basic, but just spending those 3 or 4 hours going through the agenda, looking at, okay, what's going on when, and actually putting it on my calendar. I mean, I go to the conference and it's a breeze. I know exactly where, and I feel every session that I'm in, I know why I'm there. I know what questions I want to ask. I know why, you just get more out of it, right? Talking about maximizing the value.
Yes.
If you get there and then you just assume like, well, just being here, I'll just get the value because there's stuff
too much going on.
It's too much.
And at the same time.
Yes.
So that's why I think, and something I think that a lot of people who maybe just attend events but are in a completely different line of business than event planning don't realize is these events take a year plus to actually plan. So there is a lot of forethought into looking into what are the trends in the industry and making sure we're covering that. Yep. What are current topics people want to hear about, and what's happening with Vertafore products that we can then get into on education and on main stage and in our theater sessions. So there's a lot of planning that goes into it, and it really is up to, like you said, the people who come, get into it, delve into it. Don't be afraid. These are your 3 days also to have fun, get out what you need and find it and meet some great people while you're at it too.
Yep.
Yeah, I think you're right as far as the fun goes. I mean, you think about these really cool locations you're going to be at, and you know, this year or 2025 is going to be in where?
It's in Charlotte, North Carolina.
So cool.
Yes.
And so the theme for this year is, do you remember what the theme is, or do you know yet?
You're catching me off guard.
I think it's
Accelerate towards success. Accelerate towards success.
That's what I thought. I knew I'd catch you off guard there. But
You
that's
did.
Okay, wait, but big announcement. Should we do the big announcement?
Go for it.
Okay. Well, no, I'm going to actually let Liz do the big announcement.
Okay.
We found
She's
the
looking at you like I'm
keynote
scared.
speaker.
We have a great keynote speaker with Accelerate.
Yep.
We, if you are a current customer, you will have seen the news come out.
Yes.
What I can say is this person is a very prominent former Olympian, gold medalist, and very excited to hear what they have to say for our audience. It's a great opportunity to get to hear this person that you will not get elsewhere other than just what's fed on news and broadcast.
You could have been living under a rock for the last 20 years and would know
still
this
know.
name.
Yeah.
Yeah, and would know this name.
And I would say
it's not
even
Snoop Dogg.
No.
I mean, I wish. I
Right?
went for that, but he's
would've
gotten
been
very
super
popular
cool.
lately.
He really has,
know.
especially with last year's Olympics.
Yeah.
For
His
sure.
time is very, very tight these
That's
days.
right.
I have no doubt.
He's crocheting with Martha
Snoop
Stewart.
Dogg
going to the
2.0.
Olympics. Yeah, it's hilarious. Anything else Accelerate related that you wanted to get into? Did you want to get into your AI real quick before we wrap this thing up?
Well, I was gonna. Yeah, I mean, yes.
I know you want to.
Yes, yes.
Okay, we'll circle
so
back
before,
around.
It's Sid's baby, her love.
Before we hit record, we were talking to Liz about the events industry. So obviously, we've been talking about insurance and how to take advantage of and get the most out of conferences in the insurance industry. But you have a ton of experience in just events, how to run an event, like what a well-run event looks like, feels like, how to put out fires. I mean, just the behind the curtain experience of event planning, and you go to events about events and read about events. I mean, it's just a whole world that we don't even know about.
That is a lot more of my world than the actual insurance world.
Yeah.
And
before you get into your question, I have to ask: would you rather be in events planning for corporate or a wedding planner?
So I can actually answer that with experience.
Oh, wow.
Because I was a wedding planner for 15 years.
Which is more stressful, Bridezilla or corporate
Well,
CEO?
not to give any trade secrets, but typically the mothers were worse than the brides, actually.
No.
So, there was that.
Makes
But
sense. That makes sense.
did both simultaneously. I've actually been doing events for 20 years. And started with corporate events and then got into weddings at the same time. Prior to having kids, it was a lot easier to do weddings because I could work all week at a corporate job and then weddings on the weekend. But I've scaled back and in the last 3 years stopped doing weddings. But love corporate events, have had the opportunity to leave this industry of events and job and have chosen to stay in it. But like Sid said, I've been immersed in it for quite some time. I've actually only been on the insurance side now for the 3 years or so that I've been at Vertafore. Prior to that, I did events within the natural resource industry, also technology companies, but more on digital monetization than insurance. So a lot more in-depth on events, and have been through the plethora of having them in foreign countries, dealing with issues there, in the U.S. So there's not a whole lot with events that's going to surprise me or throw me off guard. I just by nature think of what is the next step, or plan B or plan C, because something's always going to go wrong. And that's another thing to talk, to hit on with attendees, is if you show up to something and maybe it's not what you were promised or had an expectation in your head, don't let it ruin what you're at or what you're looking for, because you can always make something of it, whether it's through connections or whatever it might be. So yes, I do, going back kind of what you were saying initially, do say a lot more on the trends of events and what's happening overall to ensure delivering that best experience for our customers.
Speaking of trends.
Well, so I mean,
he loves those.
Thanks for volleying that to me. So
I got you.
We're trying to figure out, obviously, like how does AI make its way into insurance? We hear there's some people that are obviously very scared of it. Some people very excited about it. I've taken the more middle road, which is it's not worth it to have emotion around it, because it's here and it's going to be a part of our world.
Right.
Just put your head down and figure out how to best make use out of it.
Yep.
And I think it'd be interesting to hear how other industries are starting to think about it and bring it into their world as well. So we were talking about, before we hit record, how events is doing this, how the event industry is thinking about it. And you've got a hot topic,
just like it is for
insurance. Okay, so let's lay it on us.
Well, a lot of where the event industry is looking to bring AI in for 2025 is really enhancing attendee experience. So AI on the back end can really help event planners with transportation, registration, things like that. It also bringing in AR and VR, augmented reality or virtual reality, into the presence of events is really becoming popular this next year, because what it does is it enhances the attendee experience. So with chatbots, for instance, it allows attendees to instantly reach the conference organizers, ask questions, figure out where they need to get. It could be tailored, not even just talking to the conference organizers, but you can put in something you have of interest, and if they have that built into the program, it'll then tailor your experience at that conference to what your need is, whether it's a specific topic or something. So it's really, we're really starting to see the emergence of it being built out to enhance the attendee experience and make it that much better, so that people get what they want out of an event.
So they could load up those chatbots with like a FAQ, and so even if it's not the event coordinator, it's at least answered by the AI with. Okay, that's really cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so any other ways that you're seeing AI put in or either hearing about?
I mean, I think, it really goes down to similar to what Sid was saying. I think there are some people that are still a little wary about it, some people that are gung-ho, I think, embracing it. From a technology standpoint, it really elevates and enhances what people get at conferences. So I think, in my opinion, it's a win-win. I think it is about making sure you're bringing it on smartly and in a way that's going to enhance what people are experiencing and getting out of the event. And maybe not overwhelming them from the get-go, but there's so much that I think we're going to continue to see year over year and how it's brought on. And I'm excited to see what comes of it.
Do we get to a point where we could sit on our couch with VR goggles and go to events?
Sure. I mean, you can do seminars, and that's not necessarily a whole lot different than a webinar where you're going to sit and maybe not goggles, but in front of a computer. But I think where people are still finding value in events is the immersive experiences they are getting on site. And that's through networking, that's through the connections that they're making, and when you are maybe just online or just have a set of goggles on, like you said, to watch something, maybe you're chatting to some people in a chat room, but it's not the same connection. And especially back to what I said earlier, in the insurance industry, we're still very much about connections. So I think that we may still have some of those smaller events where people can get the tidbits of information they need more on a webinar or at home, but you're not going to get that engaging interaction
Right.
that you will at an in-person event.
Yeah,
Makes sense.
I agree. I love it, man. It's been amazing to have you here.
Oh, thanks,
Thank
guys.
you. Yeah, you are just like, you know
On
your
this
stuff.
snowy Denver day.
On this, oh man, yeah. First snow? Second snow?
Decent first snow.
First snow,
We
okay.
might have had a dusting, but nothing that,
Yeah.
impacted my commute like today.
And I love what your son said. He said, winter is here.
Oh, Mom, looks like we're going to have a long, cold winter. I said,
4 years
hush.
old. Speaking the truth.
There you go.
I love it.
No, I do. I think it's awesome. Thank you so much.
Yes. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
Really, really appreciate it. And the audience there, make sure that you go and like, subscribe, leave a comment, tell me and Sid how pretty and great we are. And we love to hear those things. Give us 5-star reviews only. And we love you. We do this show for you. Have a great day. We'll see you on the next one.